Okay, here's the problem that I've given you advanced students. I've given you basically an assignment, or a very vague assignment at best, on how to do a video tutorial, and I want it to be over something that you've been using for the last couple of years now. And you can do it in one of a couple of different ways. You can use the camera that I have set up in the green room, or you can use screen recording software that's free that you don't even have to download. If you go to screencast-o-matic.com, you can find screen recording software that records your every move and your voice, or you don't have to do any voice. If you want to tweak your voice, Audacity is a pretty good free program that you can also download. It's got a lot of the features that the higher end paid programs have, but I've given you a question that really requires you to work as a team, and you're going to divide up and the tasks, because one person can't do everything. The tasks are going to be, one person may operate the camera, one person may do the voice, one person may do the video splicing. I would recommend using Pinnacle Studio Plus because I installed that on all your computers, and that's what I'm familiar with. If you want to use a more professional version that Adobe has, then you can use that, but I can't help you on that too much. But I know how to green screen. I've got everything set up, but the question is pretty vague on purpose because up to this point you've been doing procedural work, which means that it's step by step by step by step. Well, you can do that process, but that doesn't mean you have an understanding of it. You can rearrange blocks on a table according to instructions, but that doesn't mean that you understand the coefficient of friction that affects those blocks being moved on the type of table. So to really delve down and understand, that's why I was talking about flipping lessons and going to edted.com to give you an idea of a lesson that you might do. Digital Tutors is an excellent resource. 3dbuzz.com is an excellent resource, and that's really what you're doing. You're creating a training video over whatever software you want. It doesn't have to be more than a couple minutes, and it teaches somebody, the somebody is the regular animation students, how to do something. And one thing you need to keep in mind is you do have to go slower than you think you would, because generally speaking, you have to speak slower to accommodate all of the learners, and you have to be clear. And that doesn't mean like mousing all over the screen real fast, or not explaining a shortcut key that you use, because they're not going to pick that up, and you wouldn't pick that up. So be professional, like Digital Tutors, and that's really what I'm looking for. Something that ultimately, when it's finally rendered and saved, is a Windows Media video that I can put up on the server and put it out as a lesson for the students to do over Maya or 3ds Max, or preferably 3ds Max, but it can be over anything that they have on their computer, and it just needs to be clear. So hopefully that clarifies some things. And one thing that I've used for a long time, and it applies to just about everything, not just education, outside the four walls of the classroom. I helped co-develop a problem-solving process with a friend of mine for the Department of Public Instruction in North Carolina for their curriculum and development, and it was called, or is still there, it's called DEAL, D-E-A-L, which is an acronym, and it stands for D is define the problem clearly, And I did not do that on purpose. So that makes the solution more difficult. E means explore all possible solutions. I've given you some possible ideas as far as what software to use and so forth, what equipment assets to use. A stands on act on the best possible solution that you've explored, the E part. L is look back and explore, evaluate, make sure that it's correct. And so really deal is, I used to tell my middle school kids, deal with it. And they knew exactly what I was talking about. Deal, D-E-A-L, define the problem clearly. E is explore all possible solutions. A is act on the best one. And L is look back and evaluate. It's kind of like input, feedback, output, and then you've got that loop that goes around. Just think of it that way. You guys are all independently smart. You're coherent. You're very knowledgeable in social networking and electronics, and you just get it. And that's really what I expect. And that's how I'm going to check for meaningful understanding. I mean, not just watching you on the computer day after day, but knowing that you can do it, because you're basically mashing up what I'm giving you. You're totally recreating it. It's being flipped, mashed, whatever you want to call it, into a totally new composition. And this is the way that I used to do my tutorials way before digital tutors came along. In fact, before even video was a consistent reality, I did podcasting. So best of luck, but remember, your assignment is to create, as a team, a lesson. I would keep it a couple of minutes, maybe, over something that you already have learned in class. And it's basically a how-to tutorial, like digital tutors. If they need some assets or something that they need to go along with it, just like digital tutors, you better provide it for them. But it's a how-to video, and they need to know how. It's got to be clear enough. They need to know how to recreate whatever directions you gave them, which sounds easy on the surface, but you can see me just with your teachers in general, the challenges that it presents, because you've got learners at all different stages and modalities of learning. And visual and audio is certainly one of the better ways to reach the audiences. But so that's what you're going to do, and that's a major part of your grade for the semester, and it's also going to be part of their grade, and they're going to critique you. I mean, if they can't do the assignment as a majority, that means something's wrong. If one or two students can't do it, then maybe not. But if the whole class is having the same issues, then you start looking at the author, the creator of the training resource. So just think about it. Because you're advanced students, I know you know how to collaborate. I've shown you some very basic things. I feel like you can do it, that you're not going to let me down. And it's going to be challenging, but the good thing is we have all the resources, all the assets, everything you possibly need in the classroom already. One potential problem might be noise. You may have to do some of the recording. Somebody may have to come in after school and do some of the recording, or during lunch, or because you got bells, you've got interruptions, even if the rest of the room is quiet, which we're generally quiet anyway. But and I can keep the rest of the class quiet, but you've got white noise all over the place. So the microphones, however, are fairly directional, so they pick up mostly what's in front of them, and they kind of noise cancel what's on the periphery of them. So that'll help. So best of luck.